Hello, hello. Good morning. Happy Thursday, April 9th, 2026. I am Manila Chan. Ted Rall will be joining us in just a moment after his morning potty break after deprogram. Welcome to all the deprogrammers. Hope you guys stick around. Producer Robbie says, I should just do an ad right now since we're waiting on Ted. But yes, you are tuned in to the Ted Manila Information Show, TMI Show for short, because we bring you too much information live Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern time. So please be sure to hit the like, the follow, the subscribe, and the share button so we can continue to grow our little show. So yes, Robbie, if you can please just put that up there. It'll give us some time. It'll buy Ted some potty break time. So yeah, we've got a lot of topics to get to, and I know these boys did not stick to the script yesterday. I know. I saw. I'll let Ted get settled in and hop into this ad for just a moment. All right. So here's a little inside scoop that many creators are talking about behind the scenes. It's actually one of the reasons I'm using Rumble. They made a way to super chat creators so we get paid immediately and without any fees. That's good news for all the creators. YouTube and Twitch take up to 50% in fees when you tip those creators. This method takes none. That's right. The platform takes zero fees. We get to keep just about 100% of whatever you send us. So you can super chat now with Bitcoin, Tether, Tether USD, or even Tether Gold stable coins. The tip will show up directly on the Rumble chat, which of course we will do our best to catch and read. All you need to do is download the Rumble wallet, which we've talked about on this program. And then you can go to the App Store, download that, send the tips over to, me and Ted and Robbie, any of your favorite Rumble creators. You can go to wallet.rumble.com, or you can just go directly to your App Store and download it there. So what an amazing way to get rid of that middleman and help the small creator economy. So shout out to Rumble for making this disruptive technology to help all these the little guys like us. And there be Ted.
Speaking of little guys,
Look, Ted's not a little guy.
I'm a very little man. I'm very little.
Like Zelensky size?
Yeah, I'm like Zelensky. I am like, they call me Ted Zelensky. Ted Zelensky.
If you guys don't know, Ted is joking because Ted is very tall. Ted's like, what, 6'3", 6'2", 6'3"?
It's weird. Like when you get to be over 6 feet, it's sort of like, is he 6'2"? Is he? I measure differently depending on when I go to the doctor.
That's true.
Sometimes I'm 6'2", sometimes I'm 6'2.5", sometimes I'm 6'3".
Well, you shrink too. Like after 40, you start, your spine starts compressing.
Yeah, my dad was 6. I mean, I think of him as 6'4", but he's old now, and so and he hunches a little bit, not a lot, but he's really like 6'1" maybe now.
With the hunch or
Nah. I'm assuming, I'm like extrapolating like with the Pythagorean theorem to like he's standing straight up. Yeah. I worry about how much hunch I'll have because I'm a cartoonist and we hunch for a living, and I mean, I used to always know like these old cartoonists in their 80s, like at Mad Magazine. I knew guys who were in their 90s and they were like totally, I'm like, oh fuck, if I keep doing this will be me.
Oh, well, you have to do these like back stretches and stuff, like the upper back.
I roll the foam roller is my friend.
Yes.
But also you get these weird things, like I don't know if you can see, like I have this like crazy callus, like guitar players have calluses. Yeah. That's like where I hold my pen. Anyway.
Oh, that makes sense.
Hey, how did all the medical stuff go yesterday?
Oh, good. Baby had a stress test and all of that. Like they of course, because I'm what they call not only a geriatric pregnancy, I'm a super geriatric pregnancy.
Super geriatric.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
Like I love seeing that stamped on my file.
Yeah, I told I told Jamal that you were pregnant. He's like, wait, Manila's pregnant? He didn't know.
I told him. He didn't reply to my texts. I was like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to.
No, he wasn't like replying to texts and stuff.
I know he was in a bad spot. And I told him too. I was like, I have my own weird health things going on. I'm 45 and pregnant and whatever. But he didn't reply. So I figured, I'm not gonna beat him up over it. Dude lost some vision, had some health scares. I'm in a good place. I just had the annoying thing is I have to go every week now until whenever it is baby comes. So in the next couple
But
of
she's
weeks.
due.
She's
within,
due like
within the next 14 days, right?
Yeah, something like 14 to 20 at most.
Mm-hmm.
I had somebody just tell me that their kid was like kept the bun stayed in the oven 2 additional weeks.
What? Yeah, I guess I have
God.
I have been hearing about that lately. Like, there are
No.
I think that I read somewhere that some lady, the longest gestation for a human being is like 12 months on record.
Oh my God. No.
I'm going to look this up, but I'm pretty sure that's right.
No. Hard no.
You're like, fuck that.
I'm trying to vibe.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
I am
a
so
year?
wrong. I am so wrong. The longest officially recorded human pregnancy lasted. Wait for it, Manila. You want to care to guess?
No.
It's more than you think. 375 days, nearly 12.5 months, 100 days longer than the average 280 days. This occurred in 1945, involved your fellow Californian, Beulah Hunter, who gave birth to a healthy, normal weight baby girl, Penny Diana, after over a year. Her last menstrual period was February 10th, 1945, right before the end of World War II. Wow. Her pregnancy test was positive on March 24th. And there's also other unverified cases, like in China, in 2016, it is reported that a lady had a 17-month pregnancy, complicated by placental issues.
I've heard of weird stuff like that. So I'm like, oh God, please don't let me be one of, like, I'm already a weird statistic now, being 45 and pregnant naturally. I'm already part of like CDC statistics. Don't let me be one of these. Like, don't just, please, no, no, dear God, no. It's just that well, you guys know me. I'm not, it's not that I'm not maternal. It's that I like owning my own body. And I don't like people, even my own kid, my own fetus, telling me what I can or cannot do with my damn body.
Well, that's just, that's not politics, Manila. That's just biology.
So I've sucked it up. I'm 9 months in. So, that's as much as I'm willing to commit to letting somebody else control my body.
Don't blame the patriarchy. This is one thing you can't pin on us. Well, maybe one patriarch you can blame, but not all of us.
No, I get it.
Overall.
I'm 50% at fault. I'm 50% at fault. I take responsibility. I know, but the commitment, according to the science, should we follow it, says 40 weeks, 9 months. After 37 weeks, the baby is baked and they can come at any time and be full. They're fine anytime after 37, but 40 is just the typical line. So I'm past the 37 mark. So I'm like, all right, you can be evicted now, unless you're going to keep squatting like Hunter Biden does at all his Airbnbs and not pay the bill. I wonder if he's paid them, now that we speak of that.
I don't know. I mean, he's not doing, his art career has fallen off a cliff.
I know. So, I wonder how Hunter is doing.
I hope, honestly, look, he, unlike his father, he hasn't,
the country's favorite child.
He hasn't killed anyone. So I hope he's doing okay. I mean, look, he had a fucking, I mean, honestly, let's get serious here. You got to say poor Hunter Biden. First of all, he's in the car when the car accident happens, and his mother causes the car wreck and dies along with.
Wait, she caused it? I thought they got
She did. Oh,
what? I thought.
Oh my God! So this is.
I thought she got T-boned.
So you know how Joe Biden is like one of the worst human beings on earth, right? Well, so Joe Biden for years went around at campaign appearances, like, and then a guy who had a liquid lunch like ran the light.
Yeah, that's.
No, she ran either a stop sign or a green light, and the truck driver slammed on the brakes but couldn't stop on time. Clobbered, it was a truck, clobbered the station wagon, killed the driver who was Joe Biden's first wife, as well as, I guess, at least one of the kids,
young daughter.
Right?
Yeah, the young daughter.
And so anyway, and Joe Biden for years smeared this fucking guy. It was
Hunter and Bo were in
and
the
by
back
the way, he
seat.
also claimed that the guy was hit and run. None of those things are true. The guy, first of all, it was her fault. He got out. He was devastated. He died eventually, but he was absolutely destroyed, like psychologically, by this incident.
But he wasn't a drunk?
He was stone cold sober. Yeah, no, I mean, no, he did
I always
nothing.
thought that story.
The cops investigated.
That's the story I know.
The cops investigated thoroughly because Joe Biden lied repeatedly. Of course, you were fooled. We all were. And then Joe Biden. So think about it. You've lost your mom that way when you were a little boy. You were in the car when it fucking happened.
You saw
right?
all of it. Yeah.
You talk about epigenetics, and then your father is Joe Biden, who is a racist, stupid, lying son of a bitch. And I say racist because
a careerist.
He literally made his career by opposing court-ordered busing in Delaware. That's how he made his bones as a young congressman. You can ask Anita Hill what kind of stand-up dude Joe Biden is. I strongly recommend watching the HBO movie with Greg Kinnear, plays Joe Biden amazingly well. It's called Confirmation. And it's about the Clarence Thomas confirmation hearings. It's excellent. Oh, Manila, you'd love it. You should watch it. It's great. You would really enjoy it.
I remember Greg Kinnear playing. I didn't know it was Joe Biden, but I remember Greg Kinnear landing a political character role.
There's two movies that came out. Remember, there was like 15 years ago. There were all those like reenactment films. The Crown was kind of part of that, right? I love the genre. And they also, around the same time, they did Recount about the 2000 Bush v. Gore Florida recount. Also a great movie on HBO. So,
but I never saw. What's this one again?
It's called Confirmation. The name is very forgettable. But,
I'm like, what's it called?
Yeah, I mean, you'd see it like you'd see the little thumbnail on HBO, be like, that sounds excruciatingly boring, but it's actually good.
Oh, okay, that's something I would watch. An old movie like that. I only know from reporting on Joe Biden. Believe me, there's a part of me that does feel bad for Hunter.
It's not surprising that he became a fucking druggie,
Right. Having a dad like that, seeing your mom and sister die, like all,
I think the only good thing that happened to him was Jill. I mean, apparently Jill was by all accounts, a really loving and excellent stepmother.
Yeah. That's what I heard too. So, and she herself escaped death by way of cheating on her first husband, who is now in prison for murdering his second wife.
Right. That's true. Could you imagine knowing that? Like, holy shit, that could have been me. I mean, that's like my friend John Backderf, who is a cartoonist. I think I've mentioned him to you. He goes by the name Derf, D-E-R-F. He used to do a comic strip called The City that was in a lot of alt weeklies like Washington City Paper and The Village Voice and stuff like that. Anyway, he and I are both from Ohio. We're about the same age. We're Gen X buds. Fellow cartoonist. He did this graphic novel about this true thing that happened to him when he was in high school. He was best friends with Jeffrey Dahmer. And
no.
Oh yeah. So he later, when he had no idea that Jeffrey had certain proclivities, and he years later, when everything broke, he was, how like you learn and then you're like, oh, wait, this explains that thing that happened. It's like,
Right,
oh,
right.
I understand now, or I
Like,
didn't think much of it. So
oh,
he
yeah, yeah.
remembers, for example, at one point, like hanging out at Jeffrey's house, and Jeffrey's like, and he's like, oh, I'm going to go get a beer from the fridge. And Jeffrey's like, no, 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 no. I'll get it. I'll get it. You wait there. Saying, no, no, I'll get it. No, no, I'll get it. And Jeff went to grab the beer for John. Well, they were able to work it out that there was a head in the fridge at that time. So it would have been an awkward conversation. Like, so next to the Genesee cream ales, I couldn't help but notice,
Whoa.
Yeah.
Jeffrey Dahmer of all, like,
yeah.
And we're talking about, I was
but imagine, like, basically he was friends with this guy, and it's like, oh, this guy's an incredible mass murderer. But he
had no idea.
And he never did anything to me,
Well, I mean, I've told this story before. I had a friend who was a Latin music producer, and last minute he said his wife couldn't go with him to this Latin Music Awards at the Beverly Hills Hotel, and he's like, my wife had a work thing pop up. Can you step in and be my plus one? And I was like, sure. Why not? Look, yeah, I love the Beverly Hills Hotel. I'll see you there. I'll meet you at the Polo Lounge, and then we'll go into the awards. Turns out 3 days later, he's arrested for murdering his wife.
Well, that's why she couldn't make it.
That's why she couldn't make it. So it might have been that night, maybe, or the night before. I can't. I mean, this is pre.
Oh, that he did it.
Internet. Yeah. So he might have just murdered her and was like, fuck, but I got to go accept an award. I'll phone Manila.
Manila's my murder beard.
Like, she'll come. She likes going to this sort of thing.
I'm going to make a t-shirt for you. Murder beard.
I was the murder beard. Like,
that's awesome.
I read the LA Times the next day or something, and I was like, what?
Did that? So tell me how you.
Well, he didn't murder me.
How did you?
See?
But how did you? Well, because. Yeah, I mean, do we know? Like, I mean, I assume it was like a domestic. They were fighting or whatever, right?
He apparently bludgeoned her with blunt force trauma to the head, and then put her in the bed, tucked her in.
Well, that's nice.
I don't know if he like cleaned her up or I don't know, but he tucked her into bed, and I guess her sister hadn't heard from her in like a day or two and was like, "What the hell?" Shows up for a wellness check, can't get in. The husband was like very strange and was like, no, I gotta go. Close the door. Pushes her out, calls the LA County Sheriff. Sheriff comes, like,
as one does,
let us in, and ta-da, the wife is dead.
So,
in the bed.
So how did you feel about this? Did you feel like you felt death kind of like brush across?
I don't know. I mean,
did you feel like you had a narrow escape? I mean, or how or is it just like a weird thing that happened?
It's just to me, it was a weird thing. Like I had, who's asking me this question? Oh, Manila, the police didn't call you? I seem to remember giving a statement when I was at work. This is when I was still at the car dealerships, and because they came and I didn't have anything to add. I didn't know anything. All I could tell, everything I just said on air here is exactly what I told the police. It was like, he said his wife couldn't make it. He asked if I could step in to be his plus one.
His murder beard.
That was it. That was all. And I don't know. I went to the Latin Music Awards or whatever it was called back then at the Beverly Hills Hotel. It was great food. Beverly Hills Hotel.
Yeah, it's
had some martinis.
Famously so. I've known a lot of people who.
How would I know that he just murdered his wife maybe earlier in the day or the day before? I didn't know. He didn't volunteer that. I don't know.
Manila, roughly 50% of murders in the United States go unsolved. And I remember
50%?
Mm-hmm, yeah. And I remember doing the math one time for like statistics class. And I determined that something like 1 out of 16 Americans has gotten away with murder, which means that like if you ride a bus or something, Like one person on that bus killed someone and got away with it.
No.
Yeah, there's a
Well, look,
we're murdery people, man.
no, I know. Like, I know there are there's a recent story here locally in the DC metro of this guy that murdered like 20 years ago or something. He's like around my age. In his 20s, he murdered his girlfriend's mother because he blamed her for the breakup and gotten away with
reasonable.
it for all this time. All this time gone, and he's like this mild-mannered, I don't know if he was like an assistant professor or something, I don't know, like at a local college here, like some 40-something-year-old guy, and they, with all the new technology, I don't know, somehow they were working on this cold case, and they arrested this guy like last year, after 20 some odd years.
Maybe DNA or something was proved helpful.
And he just was living right out in the open here in DC, like just normal life, didn't try to hide, didn't try to run away.
He wasn't being sought, right? So why would he be hiding?
No, I mean, he just went on living his life, and I'm like,
he was living his best life.
He's just living his best life, and I'm like, oh my God. Like, I know several murder victims, not including the Latin music producer guy's wife, like barring her, because I only met her like once or twice. But people I actually knew. So I know like at least 6 murder victims, but mostly because it's gang related because of where I grew up. But
I've known some I've known some murder victims too.
So that's, yeah, I'm not the norm, obviously, because of where I grew up, like that there's a lot of gang violence. So yes, I would have more exposure.
I knew 2 taxi drivers who were killed in New York. It was driving a cab in the 80s was like a death wish for sure.
Yeah, that would be scary.
One of my colleagues, I remember, it was spooky to me. I used to never take anyone to Harlem. It's like, sorry, it's too dangerous. Now it's not at all. But
no.
Now it's yuppie style. But it was dangerous. Wow. And I was just like, I'm sorry, I'm not taking you to Harlem. Whatever. I'm sorry. Fuck you. I'm not taking you. Anyway,
don't go past he was like always 98th or something.
96th. And he was like, oh,
wow.
And he's like, I'll take anyone anywhere where they want to go. That's like their civil right. You owe them. And I'm like, look, I agree with all that. That's true. And you should, just because you live in a shitty neighborhood doesn't mean that you shouldn't have access to a taxi. But I only have one life to live, and I'd like to keep
self-preservation.
And I'm not going to do that. Anyway, I remember so then, sure enough, they found him on, I think it was 104th between 5th and Madison. No, that's not right. Between Madison and Park. And he was on the side of the road in middle July with the window half down. He was dead for 3 or 4 days during the heat wave, God. Smelling up a storm. Thousands of New Yorkers walked by him. Nobody called the police. He was smelling.
Nobody thought anything.
Oh, I mean, they smelled. He was, if you've ever smelled a rotting body in 100-degree New York City weather, holy shit. So
yum.
Yeah. So yum, flies, the whole 9 yards.
Oh God.
So, but basically everyone's like, not my business, not my concern. And I remember just thinking,
they're like San Franciscans.
And I was like, you fucking, they're like San Franciscans. Like, I was like, you fucking dumbass. I told you not to go to Harlem.
Oh, well, that's horrible. Well, welcome to Thursday.
Yeah. And I have DMZ at 11. So we have
okay. We're going to blast through this
roll.
Stuff. But so there you guys go. You guys know some weird stories about personal stories from mine and Ted's life. And Ted, that means you were 2 degrees from Jeffrey Dahmer.
That's true. Although years after the fact. So I don't know if that counts, does it? Not really, right?
Does it have to be at the same, it has to be concurrently?
Don't you think? I mean, don't you think it should? I mean, I don't know how it counts to be like.
Oh, you didn't know him. You didn't know this guy.
I didn't know. I knew. Dahmer was in prison when I first heard this story. So
and I would say,
I would say I was not 2 degrees removed from this at all.
Yeah, I told you I found out recently that I was 1 degree removed from Epstein at the time.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Which is weird. At the time, obviously dude's dead now, but I know a guy who apparently
I think I'm 1 degree
is in
from
the
Epstein.
files.
I think I'm 1 degree removed from Epstein
2014.
with several people who knew him. Because
Yeah,
I've known several people who
yeah, but that guy
knew
Epstein knows everybody or
Oh,
knew
I'm 1 degree from
everybody.
Epstein because I'm in the Epstein files. Remember?
He
He
knew
used
everybody.
he used to read my column.
Oh, that's weird.
Well, the man had excellent taste in columnists.
He had, let's just say, the dude had a wide Rolodex.
Yeah.
So it's not, if you worked in media of any sort or academia, you're not far off from knowing Jeffrey Epstein, it seemed.
Mm-hmm.
So
true.
All right, let's get to the planned stories. Okay, here's one that has me hopping mad as a boy mom, and you're a boy dad. Plans for automated military conscription during a U.S. national emergency are advancing and on schedule to be in place by the end of the year, according to the federal agency tasked with maintaining the list called the Selective Service System, or Triple S, because somebody else used SS already. Ted, so
it's a little borked.
It was used.
It's not really like the best. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we went triple S. Provisions included in the fiscal year 2026 National Defense Authorization Act, passed in December in response to falling compliance, shifted the responsibility from individuals to the Triple S. The changes drew renewed attention this week after media outlets highlighted a recent update on the agency's website. They didn't make the public announcement, Ted. They just changed the website. The Triple S is expected to finalize implementation by December of 2026, aiming for a, quote, streamlined registration process and corresponding workforce realignment. Currently, most adult males under the age of 26 living in the United States, including, Robbie, perk up your ears, men 26 and under living in the U.S., including undocumented migrants, are required to register for potential conscription. The millions who fail to do so can face penalties, Ted, up to $250,000 in fines, 5-year prison sentences, and restrictions on potentially future.
One of my friends did those 5 years. So yeah, that's true.
Oh my God, that's true. Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Under the new system, the Triple S would instead build its registry using personal data from multiple government databases. So they're watching.
Now, like if you I don't understand, Manila.
Have a driver's license.
They're going to automatically register you for the draft. Okay. Mm-hmm. If you're a man, 18 to 26. We're not going to get into the sexist aspect of the fact that apparently American women are not considered able to defend their country. Or the trans issue.
Or what about if you identify?
Yeah. No, I mean, seriously. No, so like trans women who are
trans men
who were born male, they have to be drafted too.
Correct.
But I guess like they can register you to do that, but they can't register you to vote.
Huh. Yeah.
Like why can't they automatically, if they know you're a U.S. citizen, 18 to 26, why not register you to vote at the same time?
Even non-citizens. This is non-citizens.
Well, why would why would you be drafted if you're a non-citizen?
Because that's the new system.
You're not a citizen. How can you be an American soldier?
If you live here, it says including undocumented immigrants.
That's retarded.
Well, I mean, so you got skin in the game now. So under the new system, they're kind of broad in saying databases. So it could be driver's license. It could be, I don't know, registry to vote, or I don't know. I don't know what databases. They're vague. The U.S. military has relied on an all-volunteer force since the early 1970s. President Nixon ran for office in 1968 on a pledge to end mandatory conscription, viewing it as a key source of public resentment towards the Vietnam War.
Duh.
Although draft registration was halted in 1975, it resumed in 1980 following the Soviet intervention in Afghanistan. Now, in recent years, the Pentagon has faced mounting challenges. Yes. The Pentagon has forced mounting challenges in both recruiting volunteers and maintaining the national draft list. Standards for enlistment have been lowered to address recruitment shortfalls, while the shift to
In other
automatic
words, any
registration,
retard can now be.
that's correct.
Yeah.
That is correct, is intended to boost the pool for possible conscription. Several anti-war organizations have urged Congress to reconsider the change. They argue the system, quote, won't produce an accurate or complete list of potential draftees, but at the same time will, quote, increase the likelihood of war and violate the, the privacy of U.S. citizens and its residents. Critics believe the aggregated database will be vulnerable to misuse and weaponization by both government entities and private actors, meaning it'll get hacked and whatever. Like, yeah, you should not have a central database of all males in America age 18 to 26.
Yeah, they can put it next. They can put it. The federal government can put that next to their list of Jews that they're collecting from University of Pennsylvania.
That's true. There are broader efforts across Western countries to prepare for possible large-scale military conflicts, including tightening conscription policies. In Germany, for example, new rules quietly introduced in January require men of fighting age to obtain permission before staying abroad for more than 3 months, Ted. How about that? So you can't travel for any extended period of time right now if you're a young German man of this age.
Manila, it's not like young German soldiers have ever caused any problems. So everything's cool. It's just like it can go put that next to the list of the Jews. Daddy of Triplets, thanks for the $5 donation. I'm absolutely against the draft, but at the end of the day, what have they really done but update an old, unreliable process? They've updated. It's true. It's an update. I'm not sure it's unreliable. I mean, people were required. Young men were sort of automatically registered for the draft if they applied for a state ID or a driver's license. That was part of it. I don't know how unreliable, and I'm not sure how reliable this is. I mean, think about when the government tries to purge voter lists. I'm not sure that they really, if they're looking at names, like how do they know this John Smith is that John Smith? They make mistakes all the time. They don't know who people are. I mean, I have a suffix. My name is Rall the Third, like R. It's RALL, comma III. And every time I go to the airport, they go, welcome. They somehow they can't do the comma, so they smush it all together. And it's RALLIII. And they literally are like, welcome aboard, Mr. Raleigh. And I'm like, do you think that's a name? Like even Icelandic people don't have names like that. What the fuck is wrong with you? First line of defense in the war on terror, right?
Yes. Well, Ted, you don't trust Pete Hegseth? Ted, come on.
Yeah. Well, the thing about Pete Hegseth is I'm glad he exists. Because if he didn't exist and his face didn't exist, his very punchable face, you would literally have a hard time explaining to space aliens, what is this douche we hear about? Oh, let me show you. Yeah, this right here. That's a douche. And they'd be like, oh.
Okay. No, it should be used in like English slang 101. Like when you're teaching foreigners like how to acclimate to American vernacular.
Yes.
You're like, this is the picture. This is a D-bag, douche nozzle right here.
Yeah, that's a mega douche like. Right there. I mean,
right there. So
yeah. Look, he will be the last douche standing. When douchery has been abolished from the world, there'll still be Hegseth.
I am vehemently, I've always been against the draft.
By the way, I'm with Robbie. Women getting a pass pisses me off too.
Yes. Well, that too. Even though I have a daughter coming, me being a woman myself, but first let me just say why I'm against the draft.
You want to be able to vote, but you don't want to be drafted? Fuck you.
Why I'm against the draft is because what that means is that we are not a free people, that it means that the government fucking owns you.
It also gives the government.
That's what that means.
It also, here's the thing too. Look, you can't, America doesn't win wars that don't have popular support. If you have a war that has popular support, like World War II, you will get plenty of volunteers. Like if Like we were attacked legitimately by some serious evil sons of bitches. We're all going to volunteer, me included, to go and fight. It's like, if you want to start some gay war against Iran for no reason, because you're Netanyahu's ass boy, well, that's on you, and you do it without us, right? Like, don't drag us into your bullshit. So I think it's like a country that
fucking Don Jr.
That's why you shouldn't have a draft. In a way, a volunteer military is a way to sort of gauge the popularity of military action.
Well, I mean, Ted, but that's why we've got such a complex system now of manufacturing consent, right? Ever since World War II, we've built up and built and built and built this giant snowball of a machine of how to gently, not so gently, coax the public into thinking why we need to support the war on terror, the war on whatever the war is, whatever that moment hot war is. Robbie says women have more political and economic power than men. That's true. And they're silent about men being sent to the killing field. No, that's true.
What do you mean that's true? What do you mean women? You're going to have to be more specific. How do they have more political?
What, that women have more political and economic power?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's more of us graduating college. We have a higher base income on average now. More of us have degrees. We have better jobs than boys. We have women are on the up.
Okay,
yeah.
so
and as far
younger women.
Yeah, and as far as political power goes, there's more women in the population. Women tend to be very motivated if it comes to the vote. Let's be honest. If women lost the right to vote tomorrow, you would never have another Democrat ever elected to Congress. You would never have another. Well, it's a statistical fact.
You're probably right.
Women vote more Democratic than they do Republican.
Yeah.
Women have more political power because simply there is more of them.
Right.
Also, they're not vested in it. They get all the rights, but have none of the responsibility.
The benefits, right?
Yeah,
all the benefits.
Well, they have some of the responsibilities. They have to pay taxes.
Okay,
if they did the draft and included women, and fine, you don't send the women to the front line, but I don't know.
Why not send them
make
to the
them
front
a cook?
line?
No, hey, we're all equal. We are all equal.
The Red Army,
pick up a rifle and go charge those trenches.
The Red Army they had ladies fight the Nazis in the trenches.
Yeah,
that wasn't fun.
The Viet Cong had women snipers.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, listen, we're all equal now. Chivalry is dead. The whole women and children first, and the ship's going down. No, that's over. We're all equal.
Sailed.
We are
trans
all
women
equal.
First.
Fuck them. There's no such thing. But the point that I'm trying to make is that women, y'all have the ability to stop this corporately.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about individually. I'm talking about corporately as a block. Where are you?
This is where I hate, and we've talked about this on the show very early when we first launched this show, because they were talking about this a year and a half ago, right? About conscripting women. And so you have these women's groups being like, panties in a bunch, hair on fire, like, no, if you're saying we're beyond equality, we're beyond equity at this point, and now you want to suddenly revert and be like, okay, first you're fighting to have girls, go to officer school at West Point, and girls to fight, in special forces when they can't pass the same rigorous physical exams as the males, right? To become a Green Beret, to become a Navy SEAL, they can't pass the same. So their bar gets lowered so they can become a Green Beret, just because you want to say there's a woman Green Beret. But then if her comrade falls, is she going to be able to sling his 220-pound body over her shoulder and drag him out of the hole?
Yeah, but I mean,
probably not.
Could Pete Hegseth have done that? No, he's a lethal dude.
He's not a Green Beret. He's not a Green Beret.
No, but you see, yeah, I know he was like Radar O'Reilly, but still, I mean, look, I think women can and serve in combat with distinction. There's no reason why they shouldn't. But getting back to this draft thing, do you guys think, like I did, I think Trump is flirting with fascism. I think he's interested in canceling the election. I think that creating ICE as a giant military force, the biggest in the United States, is part of it creating his own secret army, a personalized army of paramilitary goons. The timing of this was really interesting. Automatic draft registration by December. I mean, it seems to me like this is kind of like a dramatic, kind of in line with fascism kind of move.
Well, it definitely is authoritarian, because think about this for a second. We are currently engaged in a hot shooting war against a regional power in the Middle East, in a war that is destroying the world economy.
Mm-hmm.
Congress is completely silent. So the people
Worthless.
people have lost the ability to declare war with a volunteer force, mind you, where we give our consent for our sons, not our daughters, our sons to go fight. Okay. Overwhelmingly, it's men that pay the blood tax.
Yeah.
Overwhelmingly, that is true.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you have all these slut puppies just sitting out there drinking their lattes, enjoying their life, watching the men who have zero political or economic power at all going to get scooped up and sent to go fight in some pointless fucking war. And you, woman, you sit on your ass and you do nothing about it. One of these days, you're probably want to get married. Maybe you want to have kids. Maybe then you'll have skin in the game.
No, they've convinced women not to get married.
But why don't women care? Like, why don't women think? Why do women? I mean, how can you be a feminist and think that it's okay that men get drafted and women don't? I mean, that is by definition sexist.
Because they think that men don't matter. I mean, you're there to service their pleasure.
This is the new post-feminist. This is the new, like, I don't know what wave we're in, second or third wave feminism.
Yeah,
where
third or fourth, really.
Is it fourth, you think? We're far enough out. I'm not a part of that, where it's the point that women actually think we're actually better than men. Not that we're equal to men.
Right.
We actually think we've bought into the whole idea that we are the better of the species. Well-dressed nerd, thank you for the dono. He says, I'm actually for the draft. I bet if more people knew they could be sent to die for Israel, Americans would care about where the bombs fall and holding Congress accountable. Sorry, not sorry. Nerd is also a veteran. I know that. So
a lot of that is an argument that
that's true.
Jamal buys that argument, and look, I think it's a strong argument.
It's strong.
Now, listen, for the record, I'm against the draft at all, and I think that any nation that sends its women to go fight as a pathetic excuse of a shithole of the highest order. It is just the responsibility of the man to protect that which he loves, his family, his home, his hearth. That is your responsibility. That is your job. That being said, if you live in a representative style of government, which supposedly we still do, at least we do on paper, then that means that women, since you have the political power, you have the economic capital, you control a lot of what the government does. That means you have a vested interest to select when your sons and your fathers and your brothers go fight and die, and for what. And if you sit on your thumbs and you stay silent, you are a pathetic loser of the highest order.
That too. I don't want anybody's kid to be conscripted. Okay,
guys, we only have 13 minutes left.
We're going to jump to the last. Let's skip to not the last story. Jump to the penguin story, Ted. We'll do that because it's on the cover. It's on our thumbnail today. So we'll just jump to that one so people know what's happening there.
I think we should let's do number 3 and number 4. Let's skip the second. Yeah.
Number 3 and number 4?
Yeah, let's do Minneapolis. Yeah.
Real fast? Okay.
Quickly.
Okay. All right, let's do that real quickly. Okay. So Minneapolis is not only a place, Ted, where you can get shot by ICE. The Minneapolis City Council is preparing to consider legalizing and regulating venues such as bathhouses, where consenting adults, of course, can engage in sexual activity, possibly reversing the city's 38-year ban.
Do those still exist? No.
The ordinances in question, would remove the stigmatizing language and add new definitions to be inclusive of establishments where sexual activity between consenting adults may be facilitated, according to local news there. The outlet noted that bathhouses and sex clubs operated in the city until a 1988 ordinance banned businesses that facilitate, quote, high-risk sexual conduct. So 1988, Ted, that would have been like the AIDS scare.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But they also defined it as fellatio, anal intercourse, and vaginal intercourse for pay. The language of the 1988 ordinance was changed in 2023 at the behest of activists with the Safer Sex Spaces Coalition, who argued that it targeted same-sex partnerships and individuals with HIV and AIDS. Additionally, the Safer Sex Spaces group argued
true.
that
that was the purpose of the
argued that the ban discouraged outreach to those communities and drove sex-related gatherings to unsafe and inaccessible spaces. Quote, the Minneapolis Health Department and other public health organizations acknowledge this ordinance is no longer the tool needed to promote public health. Social science research tells us that commercial sex spaces like gay saunas are important for promoting safer sex practices, enhancing HIV prevention, and increasing access to testing and treatment. These spaces also enhance feelings of identity, camaraderie, Ted, authenticity, and belonging.
Clearly there's camaraderie.
They are spaces where people overcome isolation and develop a sense of community and pride, says the group. The Safer Sex Spaces Coalition was formed in response to the pushback in 1988 against the ordinance. Now, so this is, I'm going to skip through some of that. So basically, the spokesperson for Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Fry told Fox News that the mayor is in favor of continuing to explore the issue. So that's not really anything. He's basically saying, I'll consider it some more.
I'll think about it.
Yeah. So
Hamhawk,
thank you for the donation.
Here's the
Hamhawk says, in the 80s, my mom registered me as a girl. It was a simpler time and it worked.
Wow, that's
this
awesome.
is for the
for the draft.
Oh, for the draft.
Not for the gay bathhouse.
Yeah.
I remember
like your mom registered you for a bath.
I remember when all these clubs were banned, all the bathhouses were closed in New York City, all the sex clubs were closed. And look, the thing is, that was probably hysteria at the time. I mean, as we now know, the big secret of the AIDS crisis was that at least as many gay men were dying from sharing needles because they were IV drug users as were getting it from butt sex. And so really, truly, there was a drug epidemic more than there was a homosexual AIDS epidemic. And nowadays with PrEP, there's most people who are HIV positive, live full productive lives with their non-infected partner, right? They call them magnet couples, one positive, one negative. And they never transmit because the viral load is reduced and controlled. So, I mean, the fact is that people don't need to be afraid of AIDS anymore. It's treatable, it's preventable. It's just
not what it was in 1988.
It's not a big deal. It's not a fucking plague anymore.
Well, it's still a big deal, Ted. But
I still think people should have but as a societal problem, it's not a big deal.
Right. It's not like a pandemic anymore. So Arian Gordy thank you for the donation. Arian says so Minnesota is gonna re-legalize brothels. What a country we live in. Shit's ridiculous. Can't believe not only we have the draft update, but now brothels are legal. The orange tard really sent this country to hell.
Well, I think besides which, listen, in Minnesota,
can't argue.
STIs, it's too cold because the STIs get frozen. So it's safe.
That's not true. Do not take STI, STD advice from Ted Rall. That is... The cold temperatures do not.
If you're that's why no one in Alberta has STIs, because it's too cold.
So don't
like your warts just fall right off your dick.
Here's the thing, I'm not with Ted on this STI talk. However, I actually am a proponent of legalizing the oldest trade in the book. I'm in history, right? I'm also like I know it sounds immoral and whatever, but at the end of the day, a red light doesn't stop a drunk driver, Ted. You can say you can't be drunk and driving, but it happens. You can say you can't be a prostitute, but people are going to go to them. So
It's better to
if
have
you
it
at
out in the
least
open. I agree with that, and in safer
you
spaces.
can, yeah.
Yeah.
So
We
to
only
a
have 6
degree,
minutes left, so let me do the
yeah.
next one.
Let's move on.
A troubling new report is underscoring how vulnerable emperor penguins have become due to climate change. The species now faces a risk of extinction because penguin chicks are drowning before they're old enough to survive in the water. So what's going on is that emperor penguins depend on what they call fast ice, not like it's moving fast, like it's stuck fast. It's like an old 19th century term of the word fast. Sea ice attached to the coastline. They breed there, hatch their eggs there, raise their chicks there. But unfortunately, fast ice is no longer fast ice. It's melting and falling in. So young emperor penguin chicks are fragile, and they're still covered in downy feathers, and they're not waterproof. So if they fall into the ocean and it's freezing cold, they die. Entire breeding colonies have been wiped out in a single season. There was one particularly severe event in 2022 when 4 out of 5 penguin breeding sites in the Bellingshausen Sea collapsed. Thousands of chicks died. In 2016, another colony in the Weddell Sea died. So because of these failures, the International Union for the Conservation of Nature has now moved them from near threatened to endangered.
Oh, wow.
So current estimates put their global population, they all live in Antarctica, at about 595,000 adult emperor penguins. But
that's all?
That number has fallen by around 10% between 2009 and 2018. Basically, by the 2080s, the population could be reduced by 50% if sea ice continues to melt, which it will, of course. What makes this especially concerning is that emperor penguins are often considered a sort of sentinel species. In other words, a warning sign, like a canary in the coal mine. Their decline tells scientists about the broader health of the Antarctic ecosystem and everything. And obviously, it's not good. And not to mention, they're really cute.
Well, Ted, I did see March of the Penguins.
All
the penguin movies, all of them. I love penguin movies. They're freaking adorable.
You're gay for penguins.
I love penguins. They're so cute. But like this, I didn't know there were that few of them. Like around 500,000. That's not a lot. Like, and just to think like these little new hatchling baby, the chicks that are like the ice just collapses under them as they're kind of learning to waddle and they just drown. Like, oh my God, this is like we're watching in real time the Earth
die.
I don't know if it's dying. I don't know what else to say. I know this is like a Dr. Reese topic, but like that is like we talk about the ocean levels rising, but this is like having an immediate tangible impact that you can see with the penguins. Like how sad. If you liked March of the Penguins, you guys need to say something about this. What can you do?
Plunge of the penguins. This is drowning of the penguins.
Oh, they can't march. They're just
blah, 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 blah,
gliding off into the ice just breaks out from under them. Oh,
yeah.
that's
and
so
they plunge
sad.
in and that's it. Yeah. Because of our tartary. But we're not doing anything. And we're not going to do anything.
This is not a happy show. We open with fucking murder, and now we're ending with like thousands of baby penguin chicks drowning.
And we didn't even talk about the Gilgo Beach killer.
I know. Okay, well, the story we punted, I'll put tomorrow, and then we'll talk about Gilgo.
It's an interesting story, not just because it was an unsolved mystery for so long, but because of why it was an unsolved mystery. Do you know why? I'll just tell you quickly.
No.
So it was Suffolk County, Long Island, where I used to live for years, as you know, and the county the county police office was completely corrupt, and they were all doing bribes and all that shit. What? So they needed the FBI was like, you have these serial killers, we'll come and help you, investigate, because there were actually multiple serial killers who were dumping bodies at Gilgo Beach.
What?
But county police were like, fuck off. We've got it. because they didn't want the FBI to discover how corrupt they were. So that's why this went unsolved for so many years.
And I just noted earlier, Gilgo Beach dude is Ted's age, but he looks so much older. I thought he was like in his 70s and that he was wearing a wig or something.
Oh, he's
I guess
fugly dude. And he looked like he's from the 1970s. Like the way he dressed, his face, everything.
If you're murdery, it takes a toll on your face.
Yeah, maybe the ladies be clawing his face like as he's killing them and stuff. I don't know.
He's so gross. So gross. Anyway, stay tuned for DMZ America with Ted and Scott Stantis. Do you have a guest today?
No guest today.
It's you two rambling.
Yeah, we'll be rambling. We'll be talking about the war. Scott has changed his mind about Israel. So we'll be talking about
really?
That. Yeah, I think you can probably guess which way that's moved.
Wow.
He was a big Zionist.
Not
so much anymore. Yeah.
Wow. That the evolution. Today's episode of DMZ, the evolution of Scott Stantis.
Yeah.
Courtesy of Ted Rall. Stay tuned.
It should be good. Bye, Manila.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.